Hey you, can your car do this? Does it have 23 centimeters of ground clearance? Can it wade through 850 millimeters of water? Can it do 360-degree tank turns on the spot? Of course not, because your car is not an iconic G-Wagen or G-Class as they call it nowadays. And yes, this car is unstoppable off-road, but is it also unstoppable on the road? And what is it actually like to live with in Singapore? Well, stick around because today we're going to check out the G580 with EQ technology together. Now, the reason this car is so iconic is because, well, it actually dates back to 1979, and this car just looks like that original. If you were to take a time machine back to that era, number one, pay attention to cryptocurrency and maybe buy some Microsoft and Apple. Number two, if you can spot a G-Wagen, well, it's going to look just like this. It's got boxiness. Other cars talk about curves. This car is all about straight lines. It's got similar styling features like these round headlights over here and even the blinkers on the fender over here. Yeah, you'll find those in the 70s. But this car has somehow morphed into a luxury vehicle along the way, even though it first started out as a military vehicle. The Shah of Iran rang up Mercedes one day and said, I need military vehicles, and this is the result. And now that it's a luxury car, well, it's the kind of car that you can easily imagine the likes of Kim Kardashian driving or maybe Arnold Schwarzenegger driving, and both of them not looking ridiculous. But this one is an electric version, so there are subtle differences over the combustion versions. So come closer and let me walk you through them. Now, the first thing I'm sure you've noticed is this grille over here, which is not actually a grille. And you know, electric cars don't need a lot of airflow, right? So okay, they've got these narrow slots here, but yeah, you've got this closed off panel here to let you know it's an EQ, and this lights up at night as well, so which is a nice little touch. But really, nobody buys this car just to say, oh, I drive an electric car. What? They want to show everyone that they drive a rugged G-Wagen. Okay, it kicks up a little bit, this bonnet. It has a little bulge over here, and the reason for that is, well, electric car as well. So it actually pushes the air up higher over the top of the car, and apparently that's a little bit better for the airflow. What's underneath here? Actually, I have no idea. Let's find out together. Okay, this is my first time doing this, so let's have a look. Oh, we have a nice big plastic panel. No frunk, but let's have a look underneath. Okay, so there's motor controllers, voltage, inverters. So this is your standard electric car stuff. I see a big aircon compressor there. So again, no frunk and like nothing really notable over here. Instead of an engine, you've just got a whole bunch of electronics. But really, the good stuff isn't here, I guess. It will be behind the front wheels. But if you're looking for the battery, like with all other EVs, the batteries are actually under the car and they are pretty huge. Well, so much for show and tell, guys. But even though the battery is under the car and it doesn't look like there's a lot of space over there, it is 116 kilowatt hours, which is actually pretty huge, impressively so. Oh, another little EQ thing I've noticed is this little vent over here, which apparently improves the aerodynamics. But have a look at this. This is classic G-Wagen stuff. I don't know if you remember, but this car came out as a two-door and then it later added two rear doors. And someone actually from Mercedes has told me that one of the big reasons they are available now with four doors is that the Singapore military actually requested versions of the G-Wagen with extra doors for extra personnel or troop carrying capacity. So yeah, this could be partly sculpted by the Singapore Armed Forces. And this part is unmistakably G-Wagen. So that's the sound of the door closing, and according to the Mercedes, you have to give it a manly slam. Yeah, that felt good. So another difference is instead of a tire carrier back here, you've got cable carriers. Now, in other countries, people have to carry their own electric charging cables around, so that's what this is for. But you know, we don't have that problem here in Singapore. You got a nice little Easter egg over here, but this can apparently carry whatever you like as long as it'll fit in here and weighs up to 10 kilograms. So I don't know, 10 kilograms of cocaine or talcum powder, icing sugar, whatever it is.
Stop it. Get some help.
And speaking of charging, so over here is the port, the back where we like it, and the maximum charging speed for this car is 200 kilowatts. That'll take you from 10 to 80% in 32 minutes. If you want to do regular AC charging though, that's 12 hours. Wow. Again, because the car's battery is pretty huge. Okay, now, so let's have a look at what it's like inside this big boxy thing. And when you open up this tailgate, you get, well, a big box. So I've seen online that you can get 620 liters of cargo back here. Doesn't sound like a huge number, but sometimes that measures up only to this line over here. So you've got actually a lot of space over here. Best way to illustrate is that I have here like a piece of luggage that wouldn't fit into the cabin, right? It's kind of medium. And you can imagine, yeah, I could probably fit like 4 of those back here, and I still have all this space on top here. So yeah, it is pretty huge. Just auditioning for Lufthansa here. And okay, let me show you with this bag as well. Some of the limitations I've been seeing in this car. For example, there are little hooks for groceries, but they are on the side over here where, I don't know what it's like if you want to hang a bag down there. Okay, maybe if it's not loaded up too much, you can drape it over the side, but look, I'm gonna hang my bag over here. Let's see what happens. And nah, it's not gonna happen. Another thing as well is my pet peeve. You've got a luggage cover, which is super important, nice to have, but you don't actually have anywhere to leave it when you want to take it with you and still want to have it folded away somewhere. So this doesn't fold up. It doesn't quite fit into the space behind the rear seats, I don't think. So yeah, lots of points for space, but maybe minus points for practicality. But I noticed actually a couple of high friction pads over here, and I guess they let me do this. Whoa, it is amazing how far I can see from up here. And straight away, I feel like, you know, getting a gun and shooting some elephant. Just adds to this feeling of ruggedness of yee, jiao sai. Good. By the way guys, if you are finding this video remotely entertaining or useful, please consider subscribing. We are quite a new channel and it would really help us out. Thanks very much. Oh, before I get on board, if you do want more boot space, you can actually fold these bad boys down. First, you have to do the seat cushions up. Very old school, and then it's just a matter of dropping these. If you do both sides, you get a combined 1,990 liters. Undoing all that is just a matter of muscle power. Ugh. Yep, this is a rugged car. And even climbing on board is actually a bit of a climb. So if you're relatively short, you've got a handle here and that's gonna help you out. Not too bad. And let's see now, I just need to drop the seat back to something more livable. And okay, that is much better. So first impressions, this high ceiling, this boxy shape does create a huge impression of space. And you know, that's even though I don't actually have a huge amount of legroom back here. I mean, this is more or less the same as my driving position, and I'm not feeling very tight over here, but it's got a very different approach to space compared to, say, a stretched S-Class or something with a lot of length for legroom. This is all about height and a high ceiling. So I do have that feeling back here, and I think I would actually be pretty well set up for a long journey in the back because I've got niceties like couple of cup holders back here, and of course if I'm sitting with my baby brother, I would want to separate myself from him. I do have all important aircon vents which come with my own fan speed control and my own temperature controls. Super important, couple of USB-C charging ports set up for long haul power wise, and yes, there are aircon vents on the B pillars as well. So yeah, it really does feel like I'm going to be comfortable here. One aspect of luxury that isn't covered in some cars is the feeling of grandiosity that comes with being high up because, well, I can actually see really well out the windows and just have a look at the scenery really well. And also, let's say I'm being driven around and some snotty security guard comes and questions my being there. Well, you know, I don't have to kind of get the feeling I'm talking to his belly button and then looking up at him. In fact, I may even be looking down at him. Okay guys, I don't know about you, but when I get into a car, the first thing I do is empty my pockets and then look for somewhere to store all my crap. So okay, I've got wallet and a couple of phones here. Let's open this up and yeah, okay, straight away, you've got some major, huge cup holders over here. I think they're built for America. I've got a slot for one phone, and okay, I know it makes me look dodgy that I have two phones, but it is what it is, and yes, I do have space for that, and that doesn't even include what I've got between the front seats for various odds and ends. So yeah, you can imagine, you know, you start your day going to work, empty your pockets, you're good to go here. And if you look at this car, right, it actually really feels like a Mercedes-Benz. I mean, I'm having trouble remembering that this has its origins as a kind of military vehicle because it's actually quite plush. And with the latest G-Wagen, you've got a touchscreen, no longer the old command system, and they've moved to the MBUX system. So yeah, if you're familiar with a modern Mercedes, you're going to feel right at home over here, and your friends will no longer laugh at you for having last century's systems. So I don't want to spend too much time on all this, but MBUX is actually simple to use and it looks really, really nice. And this being a Mercedes, I'm sure I can customize this display over here. So I've got some rugged off-road designs over here, which already make me feel and look more manly. But of course, if I want, I can switch back to a more classic Mercedes-looking setup. Okay, so straight away, less manly. But I want to point out that this car is not cheap. It's something like 793,888 here in Singapore. That does include COE. So the question is, does this feel like an $800,000 car? I'm not sure anything does really, but this is the same price as the G500 petrol, and you get things like soft Napa leather. This dark Alcantara-like or suede-like headliner is, I think, also standard with the EQ. So it does feel nice and posh in here. Does it feel like an $800,000 car? One thing I will say is that it is actually super solid. One of the things I like to do when I get into a car is kind of like see if I can tear it apart with my bare hands. No, normally when I try and do this, things will creak and groan a little bit and even move a bit, but this thing is built super duper solid, so full points for that. But I think when you spend money on a car like this, it's not so much what you get inside the cabin. I think it's more about spending money for the presence and how it feels when you drive it. Okay, first impressions, guys. This car is kind of horrible to drive. Now, what I mean by that, okay, so here I am just driving along a suburban road normally and well under the speed limit. Let me just pick up a bottle of water here. This is not super scientific, of course, but what I want to show you is that it's gonna move around quite a lot because every time I hit a little bump, yep, I feel it, and you're gonna feel it too. And hopefully you can see that this bottle of water is like shaking around like crazy. Again, people are overtaking me. I am not driving fast, and this is just a normal road. And you know, if you're sitting in the back or anywhere in this car, you're gonna feel it too, every time you hit a little bump. As for the handling, you're always aware of this car's size, and you're sitting damn high up off the ground. But okay, let me just aim it into a corner here. Man, I promise you I'm not going very fast at all, but it just feels really, really quick. And okay, I'm just gonna do this tight-ish kind of U-turn. Again, let's see how we get on, even though I'm not speeding. I'm sure okay, I'm sure you can hear all that tire squeal. There's just not a huge amount of grip. And look at this, okay, I can just shake the steering like this, and there's not much deflection in trajectory, let's put it that way. It doesn't do much. But okay, there's a couple of reasons for that. Okay, I've got these big bouncy tires, so it does feel sometimes like instead of tires, right, I'm driving on a car with like 4 big beach volleyballs under the wheel arches. And if you think about the traditional rugged off-roaders, well, you needed, like, maybe you didn't have power steering, so you needed lots of leverage in order to turn the wheels for off-roading. So the steering tends to be rather slow, and that's why I can do this and not change direction much at all. So this boils down to how this car is built and really what it's built for. So as I just drive along, well, as soon as I am bombing along at any kind of speed, I start to hear wind noise intrude into the cabin. You know, this car is a big box, and the big boxy shape means it just punches this big hole through the air, and you can kind of hear the air like rustling around the body all the time. So refinement isn't really there. Suspension is rugged but not comfortable. Steering, there is some. Tell you what though, if there's a redeeming feature, well, this car has 587 horsepower. Got 4 motors, so I have something like 1,164 Newton meters. So predictably, it is quick. So I'm at a red light now, and I'm gonna see what happens when the light turns green. But I'm sure you can predict. Let me just punch it here, and holy cow, look at that takeoff! Woohoo! Man, oh man, this car is fast. 0 to 100 takes 4.7 seconds. So yes, it is possible to have fun behind the wheel. You just might want to slow down for corners a little bit. Okay, at this point, right, I can imagine all the people at Mercedes-Benz like sharpening their knives, and I bet you when they see me next, they're gonna push me down the stairs, because how dare I call their icon like horrible to drive? How dare I say the G-Wagen isn't great to drive on the road? But yes, I already acknowledge that no one in his right mind, only an idiot would buy a car like this and expect it to be sporty. And it's good off-road, and you know what, I can also imagine some people saying, what kind of idiot would buy a $900,000 car and then take it off-roading. I mean, that's a real flex, right? But beyond those two use cases, there is one way, one reason I think that people buy a car like this, and that is because when you're sitting in this car, you're the bloody king of the road. So let me see if I can get that feeling by heading out onto the highway. Okay, it's happening. There's no signaling going on, but yes, finally people have looked up and noticed that I am driving behind them. And oh, the car doesn't like it. That was a safety system. It can tell that I'm coming up close behind another car. And yes, another ordinary person has given way to the majesty of the G-Wagen. So I think I quite like this feeling actually. I can just come up to people and then sooner or later they look up in the mirrors and then they get out of the way. So could this be the answer to all the road hogging problems we have in Singapore? We should all be driving G-Wagons. Yeah, boy. Oh, okay, but then we will all be the same height, we will all be the same size. So I guess that wouldn't work at all. So I guess G-Wagons should still be reserved for rich people? Okay, come to think of it, I can think of one more reason this car might be just for rich people, and that is the energy consumption. It's pretty high, 31.6 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers. So to put that into context for you, on 31.6 kilowatt hours, I think another electric car would be able to go like 200 kilometers. So yeah, this is pretty power hungry. But then again, if you think about it, in order to do, well, let's say you want to get 31.6 kilowatt hours from petrol, that would need something like 3.5, maybe 3.6 liters of fuel. So basically, if you have a half-liter bottle like this, you need 7 such bottles of petrol to get 31.6 kilowatt hours. So in order to drive 100 kilometers on 7 bottles of this, well, you would need something like a Toyota Prius. So that's how efficient electric cars are, or how inefficient petrol cars are. They don't convert much of the energy in their fuel into forward motion. So at the very worst, you could say that this car is about as efficient as a Toyota Prius. Man, you know, the more I drive this car, the more I realize that there's a nice benefit to being higher up than everyone else. You know, you can just see so much further up the road. You can kind of spot hazards like further than other people, like roadworks or whatever, and then you can prepare yourself to around them or avoid them. So this car really does make you feel like you're above it all. But you know, cars like this are not just driven on the highways or on major roads, right? So what happens when His Majesty has to go down to the heartlands? Well, that's something I want to find out. So let's go and see if this car can handle the terrain known as the HDB car park. Okay guys, the numbers to keep in mind are 198 because this car is 1.98 meters tall. So anything with more clearance than that should be okay. So there's a sign here that says 2.15 meters. So I hope this is accurate because I don't have the money to pay Mercedes if I ding the roof. So let's give it a try. Oh man, okay, it's super stressful. I'm gonna close my eyes because nothing bad happens when you close your eyes. Okay, I made it. I made it, okay. That felt super tight and honestly it was super stressful, but I guess it worked because I closed my eyes. And you know, once you're inside the car park, I guess you don't feel so bad. I mean, you're still very high up, but you know you're okay. So bottom line is, you're not going to make it into every car park with this car, but as long as you keep an eye out for the signage, you should be okay. Better give it a bit of buffer just in case though. So mind you, just getting into the car park is only half the battle, right? Because you still need to navigate up the ramps, still need skill to slot this home. So instead of skill, I've got cameras. So let's see what happens. I'm going to try and slot it in between 2 cars here. And this is, of course, a regulation car park with, I don't know, regulation cars all around me. It's not built for lorries, but let's see if it's built for the G-Wagon. Just going to slot it home here. Okay, I'm kind of old school. I still use mirrors to park. And so far, no alarms have gone off or anything. So I think I'm doing well, but let me see if I can get it into the spot. And in the center, yeah, I'm looking good. Okay, now I'm going to use the cameras to see how well I'm doing. Okay, I'm hearing buzzing now. And one thing to be careful of is, of course, that big tire carrier on the back. But I've made it. I am in the slot. So let's see if I can get out of the car. Yes! Okay, so let's summarize here. The G580 may be electric, but I dare say it actually does give you that G-Wagen feeling when you drive it. It certainly looks the part, and dare I say it, it feels like one when you drive it as well. No, it is not great to drive on the road. It is not refined, it doesn't handle well, but it is fast and you'll be able to outrun your enemies with ease. And I will say this, you definitely want a car like this when the zombie apocalypse strikes, because when I'm driving this thing, I get the feeling that nobody can stop me. So I can well imagine why someone like Kim Kardashian would want to drive a car like this. It does feel plush and it does give you an experience like no other. Now, the price, $793,888. That might sound like a princely sum, but I think it's what you have to pay if you want a car that makes you feel like a king. They want to show everyone that they drive a rugged G-Wagen. There's a bit of subtle difference over here as well. This bonnet is very hot. For road conditions, well, stick around because I forgot what I was going to say. For show and tell, guys, but you've